Clark with the ball for Bailieboro, pumps it along down into the corner, looking for Kieran Clark. The ball breaking away over there. It's with Brian O'Callaghan. Brian O'Callaghan on the 13-metre line loses control of it. The ball going back out. The ground's very slippery here in Breffni Park today. A lot of heavy rain yesterday. St Killians player, the cornerback, Michael Cullen, judged to have picked the ball off the ground, and it will be a free in to Bailieboro just outside the 13-metre line. And it looks like Rye Brennan that's making his way over there to take it. Brennan takes it short, looking for Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark collects it, loses control of it, gets it up at the second attempt. He's fouled, and it's a free in to the Bailieboro man. Rye Brennan to take this one just inside the 20-metre line, about 20 metres to the right of goal. He'll be hoping to open the scoring here for Bailieboro in this under-21 championship final in Breffni Park. Brennan's kick, it's right-footed. Brennan's kick is high. It's gone all the way over the bar, and Bailieboro are in a 1-point lead after 1.5 minutes of play here in Breffni Park. The under-21 championship dragged on very late this year. An awful lot of replays. 1 or 2 matches abandoned, resulting in the final just being played on 1 week before Christmas. Fergus O'Reilly from St Killians coming with a kick out. It's right-footed. It's out towards the halfway line. The ball breaks down into the hands of Mark Conway. He plays it up the field, looking for his full forward, Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue gets it, plays it back out to Terry Farley. Nice attractive football there by St Killians. Terry Farley is hauled down by Philip Clark, and it's a free into the St Killians man. It's free about 35 metres from the Bailieboro goal, dead straight in front of goal, well, slightly to the right. It looks like Thomas Riley, the captain of the St Killians minor team this year, which got to the final, defeated by St Finbarrs in a very entertaining minor championship final in Cothill this year. Thomas Riley to take the free. Thomas kicks it right-footed, he kicks it high, it's drifting out to the left, it's gone wide. It's St Killian's first wide of the match. They trail by 1 point here in Breffni Park. Very small attendance here in Breffni Park for one of the Premier Championship matches of the year, an under-21 final. About 300 people in the stand. Kick out by David Cooney, goes to Jerry Sheridan, captain of the Bailieboro team. He gets it up the field, looking to Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan gets it, lets it further into the corner as far as Kieran Clark. He lays it off, goes to Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark with the ball, gets up, but still Jimmy Clark going soloing through, plays it to Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan in front of goal. He kicks it right-footed, he kicks it high, and he kicks it to the left, and he kicks it wide. Bailieboro's first wide of the match, and Rye Brennan should have been tapping that one over the bar. Dead straight in front of the goal. Took a lot of time over the shot, hit it left, right-footed, and went out to the left, and it went wide. Fergus O'Reilly places the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram for the first time in the game. Comes at the kick, it's right-footed, across the 45-metre line. The ball breaking, it's with Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman soloing across field, gets it out as far as Kieran Clark, hiding in the corner forward. Kieran Clark collects it, runs his markers to Kieran Clark with the ball. Kieran very strong, he's fouled, and it's a free into the Bailieboro man. Some dissent there by some of the St Killians players. My free Michael Lyons now bringing the ball in as far as the 13-metre line. 13-metre line, Rye Brennan to take it, right-footed kicker. This one about 10 metres to the left of goal, should suit Rye. Brennan's kick is right-footed, dropping low, goes as far as the full forward. That was John Maguire, the ball bobbing around there. Maguire still has it. He's adjudged to have overcarried, and it'll be a free out. Taken quickly by Terry Farley, looking for the wing half forward, Brian McHugh. McHugh collects it. Plays it back out to Fergus O'Reilly, coming storming up through the middle. He kicks it right-footed, very, very long, underneath the two Bailieboro players. They collide with one another. Philip Clark has the ball. He plays it out this side of the field. It goes to number 7, Oliver Clerk, and he plays it up along the wing. It goes to Porrick Brennan. Porrick Brennan back to Oliver Clerk, and he plays it up the field to Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan up to Jimmy Clark. A fine brand of football from these East Cavan clubs. Let down into the corner, goes out to the left and goes wide. Fergus O'Reilly places the ball, the edge of the small parallelogram. His second kick out from that particular spot today. Alex out. Ball breaking in the middle of the field. Roy Brennan with it. He turns, kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. It goes to the right and it goes wide. Bailieboro squandering quite an amount of possession here early in the match. They lead by 1 point. That point coming from the boot of Roy Brennan after 1.5 minutes of play. Eamon Gaffney from the Anglo-Celt has just arrived into the match. We're filling him in here on the match details so far. Fergus O'Reilly kick out. Held out there by Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan with the ball, trying to round his marker. That's Killian Smith. He is fouled by Killian Smith, and it's a free in taken quickly by Roy Brennan. Good thinking as far as Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark turns, kicks it right footed in the direction of goal. Fergus O'Reilly comes out very confidently off his line, collects the ball, plays it out as far as Terry Farley. Plays it long out the field, looking for Mark Conway. Mark Conway collects it on the halfway line. The centre half back for St Killians. He's fouled and it's a free to the St Killians man. Kicks it right footed up into the full forward position. The ball bobbing around. It's with Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue collects it, plays it inside the number 15, Joe Lynch going through. He kicks it right footed and the ball's in the back of the net and St Killians are in the lead. That all resulted from the ball breaking away from the Bailieboro fullback, Philip Clark. It was picked up by Niall Donoghue. He turned, played it inside to Joe Lynch, who was behind the Bailieboro defence, and he gave Paul Cooney or David Cooney no chance in the Bailieboro goal. St Killians lead by 1 goal to Bailieboro's 1 point after 8 minutes of play here in Breffni Park. Line ball over there on the far side of the field. Was blocked down by a Bailieboro player. He was way too close, as referee Michael Lyons from the Drummond club. It's got to be a line ball to be retaken over there by Patrick McGovern, captain of the side. Plays it low in, looking for Niall Donoghue again. The ball breaking away from him, goes to Philip Clark. Philip Clark, the fullback, gets it up, turns, kicks it left-footed, high out the field. 2 Bailieboro players going for it. Paul Coleman's the first to get to it. Solos the ball. Still Paul Coleman with it, plays it back out as far as Pádraig Brennan. Pádraig Brennan with the ball, plays it right footed up the far wing, looking for the corner forward Brian O'Callaghan. The ball cut out there by St Killians, goes as far as Fergus O'Reilly. He kicks it right footed and long up the field. Niall Donoghue comes out to collect at the full forward. Tall, light, full forward, turns onto his right foot, going soloing through, loses control of the ball, gets it up at the second attempt. Still Niall Donoghue, plays it back out, goes as far as Patrick McGovern. Jerry Sheridan hassling well, gets it back out into his cornerback, Kieran Callaghan, and he clears it out the field down this side. Kieran Clark going out to it. Rasher, as he's known around Bailieboro, gets the ball up at the second attempt. Then Kieran Clark turns and kicks it right footed. The ball going to Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan gives the fist pass, going nowhere. Fergus O'Reilly collects it for St Killians in the middle of the field. Still Fergus O'Reilly turns and kicks it left-footed into the open space on the far side of the field. Over there is Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh playing on the left wing. He played it further up into the corner. Joe Lynch in behind everybody on the 13-metre line. Fails to get it up, gets it up at the second attempt. Still Joe Lynch hops the ball, and the ball going away from him on the bad surface down there in that corner. And it was booted out by the Bailieboro fullback, Philip Clark, out for a 45-metre kick. Philip applying the old rule, when in doubt, kick it out. And alleviating the danger around his own goal. The ball being played back to Thomas Riley. He kicks it right footed, he kicks it high, and that's a fine score by Thomas Riley. Good thinking there from the 45-metre kick. He took it short as far as Brian McHugh. It was played back to him. He took the kick and put it over the bar. David Cooney in goal today instead of Paul O'Dowd. O'Dowd out injured with broken fingers. The ball on the far side of the field, played right across, going straight into the hands of Philip Clark. Philip Clark out as far as Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark gets it up the field, looking for Brian O'Callaghan in the corner. O'Callaghan collects it outside the 45-metre line. He's fouled and it's a free to the Bailieboro man. Taken quickly by Brian O'Callaghan. The ball broken. Goes to the full-back Full back is pulled down Mark Conway as he comes out, and it's a free. Free taken quickly, looking for Patrick McGovern. The ball goes away from him. The ball breaking. McGovern's first to react. He is fouled from behind by Jerry Sheridan, and it'll be a free into the St Killians man. Kicked right footed and high in the direction of Niall O'Donoghue. Niall O'Donoghue getting a lot of space off Philip Clark. Niall O'Donoghue kicks it right footed, looking for the corner forward. Corner forward's in behind everybody. That's Brendan Gilson approaching goal. He kicks it right footed at the top corner. His second goal, the second goal of the game. Both of those for St Killians, both of them coming from the respective corner forwards. A St Killians player down injured over there on the far side of the field. There was a little altercation. Referee has gone in to consult his umpire. I'm not quite sure who the St Killians player who's down injured. It looks like Thomas Riley. The light fading away here in Breffni Park. It looks as if there's going to be a heavy shower or something. Possible cloudburst. The St Killians player is still down injured over there on the far side of the field. The rain's starting to come down. Eamon Gaffney, you're getting it very hard to see what's going on out there on the field. Indeed, there are people who say that he couldn't see it anyway. So Brian McHugh is back up on his feet. And David Cooney to come with the resulting kick out from the 20-metre line. His side trails. The ball breaking in the middle of the field goes as far as Fergus O'Reilly, the Killincare midfielder playing with St Killians, plays it long into the corner. It goes as far as Brian Gilson, gets it to Patrick McGovern, plays it to Brian McHugh. McHugh turns, kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. Ball breaking in around the square, and the ball has gone out to the left and gone wide off the St Killians player coming in there. I think that was Thomas Riley who made the run into the corner. No, in fact, it was Joe Lynch, the corner forward. He got a touch on it, it went out to the left, and it went wide. Ball perfectly crossed in there, cross goal by Brian McHugh. So David Cooney coming with the kick out. Crosses the 45-metre line. The ball broken in the middle of the field, added on, goes into the corner. Joe Lynch collecting it, loses control of it. The ball breaking away. It's now with the Bailieboro player. That Bailieboro cornerback is Alan Larkin. He clears it long up the field. The ball going to be cut out there by Martin McGovern. McGovern kicks the ball up the field, goes as far as the wing half-back. That is Martin Lynch. He was fouled. Referee taken quickly as far as Patrick McGovern. McGovern going soloing towards goal. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. Niall Donoghue and Joe Lynch underneath it. The ball breaking away from both of them. Goes as far as Alan Larkin. Larkin gets the ball up. Still Alan Larkin. A heavy shower of hailstones falling here. It goes in the direction of Roy Brennan. The ball breaks away from Brennan. Goes to Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark collects it and he's fouled, and it's a free to the Bailieboro player. Take it quickly over this side of the field. Kieran Clark coming out after it. Kieran Clark turns, heads goalward. He's towards the 45-metre line. Looks for Roy Brennan. The ball breaks away from him. Goes to Martin McGovern. Martin McGovern with the ball. He plays it out the field. Comes off the knees of the St Killians player. It's played up long up the field. Looking for Patrick McGovern. The ball breaks away. Charles Clark going to collect it for Bailieboro. Charles Clark with the ball, kicks it left footed up this side of the field. The ball going away, bring away from his marker. Goes to Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley to Fergus O'Reilly. Fergus O'Reilly, the St Killians midfielder, plays it to Terry Farley going soloing through to Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh still going through. Turns onto the left foot. Brian McHugh kicks it left footed. The kick goes out to the left. It goes wide. A very good passage of play there from St Killians. It really did deserve a score. Brian McHugh had the opportunity. He kicked it left footed. It went out to the left and it went wide. St Killians with 2 wides. Bailieboro with 3 wides. St Killians to lead by 2 goals and 1 point. That's a total of 7 points to Bailieboro's 1 point, a 6-point lead for St Killians, playing into a strong breeze as hailstones come thundering down here in Breffni Park. A desperate day for an under-21 championship final. The ball breaking out there on the far side of the field. Conditions very poor. Charles Clark chasing after it. Charles Clark gets the ball up. He's fouled as he goes to do that, and it's free to the Bailieboro man. The ball breaking away. bobbing around down there. St Killians player gets it up, but very, very hard to see what's going on out there at the moment. Charles Clark with the ball. Is it for Bailieboro? It's high, half blocked down. Fergus Riley breaks it out the field. It's going in the direction of Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan with the ball. Plays it in into the corner. The ball breaks away from the full forward, John Maguire. It's now with Martin McGovern, I think. He kicks it right footed out the field. It's got a Brad Short. Goes as far as Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark lets it in into the direction of goal. Held in there by Mark Conway, the centre half back. Conway coming out to it. Kicks it right footed. The ball very, very high. Coming out to it is Adrian Larkin. Adrian Larkin with the ball. No, in fact, it's Kieran Callahan. Up as far as John Maguire. John Maguire looking for a man inside. That's Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman's fouled, and it's a free into the Bailieboro man on the 20-metre line, just slightly to the right of goal, and this should reduce the deficit to 5 points for the Bailieboro men. Rye Brennan takes the kick, it's right footed, it's high, it's gone over the bar. Rye Brennan, second point of the game, both of those coming from free kicks. They trail by 5 points. St Killians 2 goals and 1 point. Could hear Bailieboro 2 points after 16 minutes of play here in the first half of this under-21 championship final. Terrible conditions out there. As Fergus O'Reilly, the Collins and St Killians goalkeeper, comes at the kick out from the 20-metre line. It's right footed out towards that, across the 45-metre line. The ball hanging in the breeze, broken by Fergus O'Reilly. The ball breaking, goes to John Maguire. John Maguire turns the kicks, so right footed, it goes out to the right, and it goes wide for Bailieboro's 4th wide of the match. The shower of hail has now eased off. The sky starting to brighten up yet again. In fact, it's a day where we nearly need floodlighting here in Breffni Park. Very, very strong gale blowing towards the town goal. The kick out from Fergus Riley, hanging in the breeze. It went out to the 50-yard line and can blow the whole way back in across the 20-metre line on the far side of the field. Rye Brennan's kick, looking short, goes as far as Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark with the ball, turns inside his marker, loses control of the ball. The ball going out dangerously close to the end line, has gone out over the end line. Kieran Clark, adjudged to have kicked the ball at the umpire. And referee Michael Lyons having a word with him down there in the corner. As Fergus O'Reilly makes his way to the 20-metre line, or the edge of the small parallelogram for the kick out. Bailieboro with 5 wides. They trail by 5 points on the scoreline of St Killians 2-1. Bailieboro 2 points. Fergus O'Reilly's kick out towards the halfway line. The ball hanging in the breeze, held there by Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman with the ball on the ground. Still Coleman, he's fouled. It's a free into the Bailieboro man. This will be taken by Rye Brennan. That's about 25 metres from the 25 metres from the St Killians goal. Bailieboro playing towards the town end in the first half. Rye Brennan kicks it high, it comes back off the upright and over the bar, in off the upright. Bailieboro's 3rd score of the match. All of those scores coming from the boot of Rye Brennan from place kicks. They now trail by 4 points, 2 goals and 1 point. That's a total of 7 for St Killians, 3 points for Bailieboro. Fergus O'Reilly places the ball. The 20-metre line is 3rd from that position in the match so far. Bailieboro playing with the aid of the breeze in the first half. The kick out down this side of the field. Held there by Martin Lynch. No, he loses control of it. Kieran Clark coming out after. He collects it. Still Kieran Clark with the ball. Turns after around his marker. Still Kieran Clark. He's a judge to have overcarried the ball, and it's a free out. Judge to have overcarried the ball, and it's a free out to St Killians. Fergus O'Reilly takes it, kicks it right footed. He kicks it high up the field. Philip Clark out in front. He's starting to mark the full forward from in front. Still Philip Clark with the ball. He kicks it half block down. Goes back in. Charles Clark collecting it. Charles Clark with the ball. He kicks it right footed up the direction of Paul Coleman. The ball coming off Paul Coleman's knees. He gets it up at the 2nd attempt. Still Coleman. He loses control of it. He's fouled from behind, and it's a free into the Bailieboro player. Just inside the 45-metre line, and Rye Brennan making his way out to take the free. This one dead straight in front of goal. Roy Brennan quite capable of sticking this one all the way over the bar. The sun now shining down again in Breffney Park. The light coming up a little bit. Brennan coming with the kick. It's right foot, dropping short, flicked on by Charles Clark. The ball going into the corner back. That's Stephen Smith. He clears it out this side of the field. Goes to Thomas Riley, the wing half forward coming way down the field. Thomas Riley carrying the ball with him, very skillful player. Plays it up looking for Patrick McGovern, captain of the St Killian side. Plays it to Terry Farley on the 45-metre line. Terry Farley looking to get it inside. The ball breaks away from Joe Lynch. Joe Lynch going out after it. Still Joe Lynch. Gets it up at the second attempt, gets it out as far as the full forward, Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue coming soloing across. He loses control of it. Goes to Philip Clark. Philip Clark with the ball. Still Philip Clark, the Bailieboro full back. He turns and kicks it out the field looking for Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan with the ball. Still Brennan trying to go around his marker. Loses control of it. Gets it up at the second attempt and turns and kicks it out the far side of the field. Paul Coleman with the ball. Paul Coleman rounds the attentions of Mark Conlon momentarily. He loses the ball, gets it up the far wing as far as Brian O'Callaghan. Brian O'Callaghan with the ball. He looks dangerous at that corner. The ball with Brian O'Callaghan. He's gone through. He's on the 13-metre line. Gets it as far as John Maguire. Maguire turns and kicks it right footed in the direction of goal. Charles Clark underneath it. The ball breaking. Goes as far as Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark is pulled down and it's a free into the Bailieboro man. 20 metres from the St Killian's goal. Slightly to the right, and this one will suit Roy Brennan. And help them to reduce the deficit to just 3 points. Roy Brennan does exactly that. His fourth score of the game. Bailieboro's fourth score, just 3 points between the sides. The Killians the lead by 2 goals and 1 point. That's a total of 7 to Bailieboro's 4 points.
Jimmy!
The ball kicked out to the middle of the field where Mark Conway's there for St Killians. He collects it, turns, still Mark Conway, his kick half blocked down. It's going to go as far as Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch kicks it right footed, long. It's going to in behind the whole defence. Kieran Callaghan chasing back after. Callaghan gets it up, being tackled over there by Joe Lynch. Callaghan kicks it right footed out the far side of the field where he finds the unmarked Adrian Lark, and Adrian Lark gets the ball up, gets it out the middle, goes intended for Jerry Sheridan, goes as far as Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley playing very well for St Killians. He kicks it right footed in behind. The ball got a deflection there from Philip Clark. Lucky enough for Bailieboro because it was going to drop to Niall Donoghue. The ball cleared out down this side of the field as far as Kieran Clark. Rasher going to collect it. He gets it up. Stay Kieran Clark. Turns and kicks it right footed up the middle. Looking for John Maguire. The ball breaking away from John Maguire. Ball on the ground. Some dangerous pulling there by the St Killian's player, and referee Michael Lyons from Jumalee steps in and awards the free kick to the Bailieboro man. This one to be taken by Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark takes it short, looking for Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman with the ball, turns onto his right foot. Still Paul Coleman, plays it out the far side of the field, looking for Adrian Larkin. The ball going away from Larkin. Larkin gets it up. Still Larkin on his knees out there, loses control of it. Flicked out by Fergus Riley. It goes as far as Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley plays right footed up the field, looks as far as Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan with the ball. Still Jerry Sheridan. He is fouled and the referee awards the free to the Jerry Sheridan, the Bailieboro centre half back and captain of the side. The ball long in towards the goal. Free kick awarded out to St Killians. Jerry Sheridan with the ball for Bailieboro. He plays it right footed out the far side of the field, looking for Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark with the ball. Plays it inside, looking for Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. It's high from Paul Coleman. It goes to the right and it goes wide. Bailieboro with 6 wides. St Killians with 2 wides. St Killians the lead by 2 goals and 1 point to Bailieboro's 4 points. A 3 point lead for the St Killians men as Fergus O'Reilly collects the ball, makes his way back to the edge of the small parallelogram to take the resultant free kick, or kick out rather. Fergus Riley's kick out towards the 45-metre line, the ball breaking. Going in behind everybody, goes to John Maguire. John Maguire for Bailieboro. He turns, he kicks it right footed. He kicks it high, he kicks it over the bar. That's Bailieboro's first score from play. It reduces the deficit to just 2 points. Bailieboro's 5th point of the match. 25 minutes of the first half gone here in Breffty Park. Fergus Riley to come with the resulting kick out from the 20-metre line, right footed, coming out this side of the field. Pádraig Brennan collecting it for Bailieboro. He clears it further in. It looks like Stephen Smith is after it. He is adjudged to have been fouled on Kieran Clark, and it's a free in to the Bailieboro man. On the 13-metre line, and Rye Brennan making his way over to take the resultant free kick. No, he's not. Kieran Clark is going to take it himself from the hands. Kieran Clark takes it quickly. Look at Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark collects it. Turns onto his right foot. It's right footed from Jimmy Clark. It's high from Jimmy Clark. It's going to drop short. Ball broken. Bobbing around in there. Ball on the ground. It goes back as far as Paul Coleman. He kicks it high. It's going to drop short again. The ball breaking. Touched on the ground there by a Bailieboro player, and it's going to be a free out. Martin McGovern to take the resultant free kick. He kicks it right footed and high. The ball breaking. Bailieboro gives Killians player chasing after it. That's Thomas Riley. He's been fouled. Referee doesn't give the free. Goes as far as Charles Clark for Bailieboro. Charles Clark with the ball. He turns. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. He kicks it over the bar. Charles Clark, his first score of the game. Bailieboro is sixth, and just 1 point between the sides here in Breffty Park in this under-21 championship final. Three minutes of the first half remaining. Fergus O'Reilly coming with the kick out, right footed. It's going to drop short, goes to Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman going through. Coleman kicks it left footed, he kicks it high. He kicks it over the bar, and the sides are level here in Breffty Park. Sides all square. Martin McGovern going to take this kick out from the 20-metre line. McGovern's kick out the far side of the field goes as far as Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan having some difficulty getting it up, gets it up at the third attempt. He turns, rounds his marker on the far side of the field, kicks it right across goal. It's going to be cut out there by Patrick McGovern. The ball bobbing around on the ground, goes to Paul Coleman, to Brian Callahan. His kick blocked down. Three St Killians players underneath it. The ball breaks. One of them has it. Taken quickly, goes as far as Thomas Riley. No, in fact it's Mark Conway. Mark Conway turning, the ball, hops the ball on the ground. Still Mark Conway kicks it right foot over the far side of the field. Kieran Callahan chasing after it. Callahan collects it. Still Callahan coming out. He's fouled, and it's a free out to the Bailieboro corner back. Goes to Brian O'Callaghan. Brian O'Callaghan with it for Bailieboro. Kicks it in into the corner. Looking for Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark is fouled, and it's a free into the Bailieboro men. Take it quickly, looking for Rye Brennan. Broken out by Fergus O'Reilly. Cleared further out the field. Now it's with Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley, the young minor star. His pass intercepted. The ball breaking, it's back with Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley kicks it left footed and high. Looking for Niall Donoghue. The ball breaking in behind. It's with Brian Gilson. Brian Gilson with the ball. Plays it back out, looking for the wing half back. That's Killian Smith. Killian Smith gets it back to Brian Gilson. Brian Gilson plays it inside. Niall Donoghue on the 13-metre line. Still Niall Donoghue kicks it right footed. He kicks it to the right, and he kicks it wide. He had the opportunity to take his point and put the side into a 1-point lead as we approach half time. He went for the goal option, looked for the top corner, went to the right, went sizzling past the post. And wide, the sides level here in Breffty Park in this under-21 final. St Killians 2 goals and 1 point. That's a total of 7 points to Bailieboro 7 points. Referee Michael Lyons looking at his watch. We're playing injury time in this first half. David Cooney's kick out. The ball breaking goes to Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark with the ball. It's on the ground. Clark gets it up. Still Jimmy Clark loses it, plays it back as far as Oliver Clerkin. Oliver Clerkin plays it left-footed up this side of the field. Looking for Kieran Clark. The ball going out there just close to the sideline. Ball hasn't crossed the sideline. Kieran Clark uses his strength to great effect. Gets the ball up on the 13-metre line. Still Kieran Clark. Turns and kicks it right-footed across goal. Looking for his Roy Brennan. Brennan collects it. Still Roy Brennan. Turns onto his right foot. It's high from Brennan. Held in there on the line by Fergus O'Reilly. Fergus O'Reilly is fouled as he comes out with the ball, and it's a free to the St Killians man. Kicks it right-footed out this side of the field. Looking for Fergus O'Reilly or Terry Farley. The ball going away from both of them. Kieran Clark collecting it for Bailieboro. Very, very strong corner forward. Plays it back out to Jerry Sheridan, captain of the side. He kicks it right-footed. Very high pass from Jerry Sheridan underneath to his Roy Brennan. Brennan gets the break. Turns, kicks it right-footed in the direction of goal. Brian O'Callaghan coming across after it. The ball breaking out further out the field. O'Callaghan gets it up. Still Brian O'Callaghan. Turns inside his marker. He's fouled. It's a free into the Bailieboro player on the 13-metre line, about 20 metres to the left of goal. Roy Brennan to take the resultant free kick. It's right foot from Roy Brennan. He's put it over. His frees today have been exemplary. 0-5 for Roy Brennan from free kicks for Bailieboro, and he's kept them in touch here in this first half. They lead by 1 point. Bailieboro 8 points. 2 goals and 1 point. A total of 7 for St Killians. Fergus O'Reilly making his way to the 20-metre line. 3 minutes of injury time played in the first half. Fergus Riley takes the kick out towards the halfway line. The ball breaking, bobbing around. It's with Brian McHugh. He gets it up at the second attempt. Still Brian McHugh turns and kicks it left footed. Goes as far as Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley with the ball. Plays it out the far wing. Looking as far as Mark Conway. Mark Conway gets the ball up. Still Mark Conway with the ball going soloing through. He's on the 45-metre line. Still Conway plays it out as far as Killian Smith. Killian Smith plays it up into the corner looking for Joe Lynch, the goal scorer. Joe Lynch with the ball. Turns, kicks it right footed out the field it went as referee Michael Lyons brings the proceeds of the first half to a close here in Breffni Park at this under-21 championship final. Bailieboro going leading by 1 point. On a scoreline of Bailieboro 8 points, St Killians 2 goals and 1. Those 2 goals, the first one coming from Joe Lynch in the left corner forward, the second one coming from Brendan Gilson, the right corner forward. That put St Killians 7 points up. But Bailieboro, with the aid of a strong breeze, during which a very heavy shower of sleet and hail fell, clawed back and ended up going in at half-time, leading by 1 point. Bailieboro 8 points, St Killians 2-1. Hey, Victor. You give him in a report there in the first half. Sorry? You give him in a report there in the first half. I know, it's only to print what you see. You need to give him Michael Lyons gets the second half underway. Fergus Riley collects it for St Killians, gets it as far as Patrick McGovern, plays it to the in-running Terry Farley. The ball breaking away from him, the ball bobbing around. Kieran Philip Clark coming out of it. He loses control of it. He was fouled as he came out for the ball, and it's a free out to the Bailieboro man. The ball with Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan holds it securely on his chest. Kicks it right-footed up the field. Looking for Brian O'Callaghan in the corner. O'Callaghan with loads of space. Still Brian O'Callaghan fist passes it in further into the corner. Porrick Brennan chasing after it. No, in fact, it's Kieran Clark. Kieran Rasher with the ball on the ground. Still Kieran Clark with the ball. Twist passes it looking for Porrick Brennan. Porrick Brennan with the ball. He loses control of it. The judge have overheld it, and it'll be a free out to the St Killians men. The ball with Adrian Larkin. Adrian Larkin kicks it right-footed up the field. The ball going to be held in there by Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh turns and kicks it right-footed up the field. 2 St Killians players go for it. The ball breaks as far as Charles Clark. Charles Clark collects it. on the 45-metre line. Bailieboro playing towards the scoreboard end. Gets it back to Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan to Oliver Clerk, and Oliver Clerk and referee judges that Jerry Sheridan was fouled after he kicked the ball. It's going to be a free into the Bailieboro player. Referee, I thought, was going to allow the advantage. Oliver Clerk had the ball and was going straight through. Jerry Sheridan plays the ball long up the field. Goes to Paul Coleman, and that's a fine score from Buddha Paul Coleman. He collected the breaking ball, turned onto that trusty left foot, and stuck the ball right between the uprights. Bailieboro in a 2-point lead, 2-1 for St Killians, 9 points for Bailieboro as St Killians introduced a substitute onto the team. That's number 16, Brian Clark, coming in for St Killians. Fergus O'Reilly placing the ball in the 20-metre line. It looks like Killian Smith is coming on. Brian Clark is coming to the fray. Ball breaking up the field. It's with Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark going out the field. He's fouled. It's a free kick. Taken quickly. Looking for Brian O'Callaghan out on this wing. Brian O'Callaghan collects it. Still Callaghan rounds his marker, and it's number 2, Stephen Smith, has fouled him.
Substitution on the Killian team, number 16, Brian Clark, number 6, Mark Conway.
So Mark Conway coming off, and Brian Clark going into the fray as Rye Brennan takes the resulting free kick. 20 metres from the St Killian's goal, 10 metres to the right. It's right-footed from Rye Brennan, going to drop short. The ball bobbing around over there. It looks like Oliver Clerkin that's getting it up. No, in fact, it's Porrick Brennan. Porrick Brennan kicks it high. He kicks it over the bar. No, he kicks it out. It gone off with St Killian's player. It's gone for a 45-metre kick. So the 45 to be taken out here by Rye Brennan. Brennan takes it as far as Oliver Clerk, and Oliver Clerk in the wing half back. He kicks it left-footed. He kicks it high. He kicks it out to the left, and he kicks it wide. Bailieboro's first wide at the second half. They have 7 wides in the match as Fergus O'Reilly places the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram. To kick out by Fergus O'Reilly out the far side of the field, looking for Terry Farley. Terry Farley collects it. Instead, Terry Farley caught high there and tackled by Porrick Brennan. It'll be a free kick to Terry Farley. Terry Farley kicking it out this side of the field. It goes as far as Porrick McGovern to Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh now operating at centre half back. He's on the 45-metre line. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it very high. It's going to go out to the right, and it goes wide. David Cooney's kick out the far side of the field. The ball breaking, bobbing around. It's on the ground there, picked up by the Bailieboro player. That's it's Jerry Jordan. His kick blocked down, breaks into the path of Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue with the ball. Still Niall Donoghue turns and kicks it right footed, kicks it high. And the goalkeeper coming off his line was nearly caught out, got a hand to it and tapped it over the bar. So just 1 point between the sides again. David Cooney nearly caught off his line. He got a touch to it and flicked the ball high up over the bar. It was dropping into his own net. Would have put St Killians back into a 1 point lead. David Cooney to take the resulting free kick from in front of the goals. Paul O'Dowd, the Cavan County senior keeper, is out injured with broken fingers, unable to play for Bailieboro here today. The kick out towards the middle of the field, held by Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark with the ball, hops the ball doesn't come up for him. breaks away, goes to Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue with the ball. He kicks it right-footed, kicks it high. The ball breaking in behind. St Killian's player going to pick it up. The ball broke away from him. Toe poked out there on the far side of the field. Goes to Pádraig Brennan. He loses control of it. Still Pádraig Brennan judges to have been fouled, and it's a free kick. We're taken out the feed. Goes as far as Terry Farley. The ball breaks away from him. Goes back to Fergus Riley. Fergus Riley is fouled. It's a free. The referee going to throw up the ball. Ball broken down there. Goes as far as Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan with the ball. Still Sheridan kicks it right-footed over this side of the field, looking for Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan collects it underneath the stand. Still Brennan with the ball. He kicks it right-footed up the field. Cut out there by Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith is fouled after he kicks the ball, and it'll be a free out to St Killians, which will be taken by Kieran Smith himself. Oh, Kieran Smith to take the resultant free, takes it quickly. Goes as far as Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley with the ball on the 45-metre line. Clears it back to Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith passes it back to Kieran Riley. Or Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley going towards goal. Still Thomas Riley going through. His kick half blocked down. Ball breaking. Philip Clark coming out to it. The ball breaks away from him. Charles Clark with the ball. Charles Clark is fouled. Charles Clark is fouled. It'll be a free out to the Bailieboro men. So David Cooney going to come out of goal to take the resultant free kick. Umpire calling in referee Michael Lyons, drawing his attention to some incident. Referee now coming out. Going to speak with Kieran O'Callaghan. David Cooney takes the resultant free kick out. It goes straight out over the sideline. It'll be a line ball to St Killians. This one will be taken by Terry Farley. Terry Farley kicks it left footed, goes right across goal, cut out by Philip Clark. Philip Clark clears it out the field, looking for Paul Coleman. The ball going to drop short. Jimmy Clark gets a touch and kicks it out over the far side of the field. The ball won't make the sideline. Chasing after his Pádraig Brennan. Pádraig Brennan gets it up. Plays it back out as far as Oliver Clerk, and Oliver Clerk in the wing half back rounds his mark and loses control of the ball and goes soloing forward. Still Oliver Clerk, and just a fist pass looking for Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark collects it. The pass is poor. He gets it further up the field in the direction of Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman on the 20-metre line. Still Paul Coleman to Charles Clark. Charles Clark plays it across to John Maguire. Maguire going through, and the ball is cleared out for a 45-metre kick. Cleared off the line there by the cornerback. That was Michael Cullen. And Bailieboro possibly might have been better advised to have taken their point score. Just 1 point between the sides, 2-2 for St Killians, and 9 points for Bailieboro. Bailieboro player injured. It looks like Charles Clark going to receive some medical attention. So Charles Clark looks to be complaining with his shoulder. If there was some doubt about him playing today with a shoulder or neck injury, he's going to continue on for another while. And 2 players standing over the ball, one of Jimmy Clark, the other's Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan will take the kick. No, in fact, it's taken by Jimmy Clark short to Roy Brennan. Roy Brennan, the ball breaks away from him. Chasing after his Terry Farley. Terry Farley is fouled as he collects the ball, and it'll be a free to the St Killians men. And Bailieboro should be taking the thing up more simply. It's over elaborating. Ball flicked on by Patrick McGovern, only goes as far as Adrian Larkin. Adrian Larkin collects it. Larkin coming out with the ball, kicks it right footed up the field. Goes as far as Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh with the ball, kicks it left footed out down into the open space. Chasing out after his Niall Donoghue and Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan gets there first. Jerry Sheridan clicks the ball out this side of the field, straight out into the stand, and it'll be a line ball to the Kieran Callaghan has been at a little bit of messing down here. The niggling, the shoulder in the back, that type of niggly carry on. Referee Michael Lyons has spotted it. He had spoken to him earlier. So Brian McHugh to take the resultant line ball. Takes it up the field. This goes as far as Fergus Riley, the midfielder. Plays it looking for Brian Clark. The ball is a suicide pass. It goes back down to Kieran Callaghan. He turns and kicks it. His kick blocked down. Kieran Riley gets a touch. Fergus Riley gets a touch on it. Ball bobbing around. A rash challenge there by Terry Farley. He looked to play the ball, but it was a rather rash challenge on Philip Clark. Referee calling him aside. I'm going to speak to him. Referee takes the name of Terry Farley from the St Killians team. It's railed by 1 point. Philip Clark's kick goes short to Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley plays it to the end running Patrick McGovern. Patrick McGovern going soloing through. He's 30 metres from goal. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. Ball goes out to the left and goes wide. St Killians first wide of the second half. 4 wides in the match. Bailieboro with 7 wides. Bailieboro the lead by 9 points to St Killians 2-2. The scoreboard down here on our right hand side has now been corrected to give the correct score. As David Cooney takes the resulting kick out from the edge of the small parallelogram. Ball held down here by Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark, he's played very well for Bailieboro so far today. No, in fact, it's Jerry Sheridan with the ball. Jerry Sheridan takes the free kick up the field, goes as far as Pádraig Brennan. Pádraig Brennan with the ball. Ball bobbing around, goes back to Oliver Clerk, and Oliver Clerk kicks it out the far side of the field. Ball going dangerously close to the sideline, but Rye Brennan is there for Bailieboro. Brennan solos the ball, comes right across goal on the 45 metre line. He's adjudged to have overcarried, and it'll be a free out to the St Killian men. Free taken quickly, breaking, bobbing around. Fergus Riley chasing after the ball over there. It's collected by Bailieboro man Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark coming out with it. He's played extremely well in the middle of the field for Bailieboro today. He kicks it right footed and high. Finds Rye Brennan in behind everybody. Brennan on the 20 metre line turns and kicks it right footed. It's going to be held on the line. Fergus Riley fails to hold on to it. The ball bobbing away from him, and on hand was Paul Coleman to stick the ball in the back of the St Killian's net to bring his total to 1-2 for the day. The ball broke away from Fergus Riley in goals. It was toe poked across goal, and on hand was Paul Coleman to finish to the back of the net. 1-9 for Bailieboro. That's a total of 12 points. 2-2. That's a total of 8 points for St Killian's. Pushing the back on the Bailieboro player there, and it's going to be a free into the Bailieboro men. Charles Clark to take it. Kicks it right footed and high. In behind everybody. The ball bobbing, it's Paul Coleman yet again. Coleman going through. He loses control of it. It's a free into the Bailieboro man. So Rye Brennan to take the resultant free kick. Rye Brennan does the necessary, brings his total to 6 points, and Bailieboro's total to 110, a total of 13 points for Bailieboro. They lead by 5 points now, 2-2 for St Killian's. That's a total of 8 to 13 for Bailieboro. 5 point lead. 16 minutes of the second half of this under-21 final gone here in Breffni Park. The wind starting to pick up again, the light fading. We could be going to have another of those showers which we had in the first half. Bailieboro were trailing by 5 points at that stage when the shower broke in the first half. They came back to go in leading at half time. Can St Killians do the same thing? The ball broken away, it goes as far as Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark gets the ball up into the corner, chasing after his Kieran Clark. He's been very prominent for Bailieboro today. He's fouled yet again, and it's going to be a free into the Bailieboro man. Some dissent by some of the St Killians players, and the ball brought further in, closer to goal by referee Michael Lyons. He's now also going to speak to one of the St Killians players. It looks like Stephen Smith or so Roy Brennan to take the resulting free kick just inside the 20-metre line. Slightly to the right of goal. He's pointed numerous ones of those today. Can he make it 7 points for his own personal tally? And Roy Brennan duly does that, bringing his total to 7 points from frees. Martin McGovern to take the resulting free kick out, or the kick out from the 20-metre line for St Killians. It's right-footed down this side of the field. The ball breaking into the hands of Jerry Sheridan, the captain of the Bailieboro team, going soloing forward. He loses control of the ball. The ball breaks away from him. Cleared out by Thomas Riley. Chasing after is Terry Farley. Terry Farley gets a touch on it. The ball breaking up behind everybody. It's with Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue 3-on-1. Still Niall Donoghue. Loses control of the ball. Ball breaks away from him. And it's cleared out there by Kieran Callahan. He loses control of it, gets it up at the second time, and clears it out the far side of the field. Goes as far as Pádraig Brennan for Bailieboro, and clears it down the field as far as Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark gets it up on the far sideline. Still Jimmy Clark turns and kicks it right across goal, straight into the hands of a St Killians player. He kicks it right-footed and high, lobs it in. The corner forward, that was Brian Gilson going after it. Brian Gilson was fouled, and it's a free into the St Killians man. And St Killians had a great chance there to bring them back to within 2 points. Niall Donoghue was straight through, had 2 options to shoot himself, or in fact he had 3 options. He had a player going through on either side. The ball broke away from him in the mucky conditions and was cleared. They have now the consolation of a free there from the boot of Brendan Gilson to reduce the deficit to 4 points. This game far from over just yet. These type of conditions, anything could just happen. We've seen that in the first half when Bailieboro were dominating play. St Killians went up the field and scored 2 goals to leave them in a 7-point lead. David Cooney with the resulting kick out from the 20-metre line. His 5th from that position today. I think Killians are going to need another goal if they're going to get back into this match. The ball breaking over there on the far side of the field. Bobbing around, the ball has gone out over the sideline to be a line ball to the Bailieboro team. Bailieboro seems so much stronger physically on the pitch. Players like Kieran Clark at corner forward, Charles Clark at midfield, John Maguire, Philip Clark, Jerry Sheridan, the physical strength playing great effect here for Bailieboro in these mucky conditions of Breffni Park. About 12 minutes. 12. Player down injured over there on the far side of the field is Jimmy Clark. He's been foraging around the middle of the field all day and worked tremendously hard for Bailieboro. The line ball taken by Oliver Clerk and up the field looking for Roy Brennan. The ball has gone out dangerously close to the sideline. It's gone back in. It looks like Pádraig Brennan that has it. Pádraig Brennan on the ground. The judge touched it on the ground. It'll be a free out to the St Killians player. Line ball, the free taken by Brian McHugh. Broken out in the middle of the field. It goes in the direction of Pádraig Brennan. No, it's Kieran Clark. Kieran Clark plays it along on the ground. Cut out by Michael Cullen. Gets it to Terry Farley. The ball long in behind everybody. Kieran Clark, the ball breaks behind him. Goalkeeper coming out, loses control of it, but there to redeem it is Philip Clark for Bailieboro. Philip Clark plays it out across to Adrian Larkin. Adrian Larkin out to Paul Coleman. Bailieboro player down injured. In fact, that's Oliver Clerkin. St Killians player down injured. It's now with Patrick McGovern. Patrick McGovern playing it in. It's Brian Clark in behind everybody. Clark gets it up on the 20-metre line. Still Brian Clark. Turns onto his left foot. He kicks it left-footed. He kicks it high. He's kicked it over the bar. His first score of the game. Just 3 points between the sides. Just a little less than 10 minutes to play here in Breffni Park. It is under 21 final. 2-4. That's a total of 10 points. To 111 for Bailieboro. That's a total of 14. So 4 points between the sides. The kick out by David Cooney out this side of the field. The ball breaking. It's on the ground, bobbing around. Comes up to Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley with the ball. He loses. Still Thomas Riley plays it back out as far as Terry Farley. Terry Farley in into the corner. It's with Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue plays it right-footed across goal. 2 players were coming in from the far side. It's now with Patrick McGovern. Patrick McGovern with the ball. Still McGovern tries to go around this marker. Still McGovern plays it out. It's judged to have over-carried the ball, and it'll be a free out to the Bailieboro men. Jerry Sheridan to take the resulting free kick. It's right-footed high up the far side of the field. The ball bobbing around over there. 2 Bailieboro players, 1 St Killians player after it. It's on the ground. The St Killians player was fouled, and it'll be a free to the St Killians. Brian McHugh comes with it, kicks it right-footed and high. Ball with Kieran Callahan. Kieran Callahan playing well now in the corner for Bailieboro. He loses control of it just as I say that. He fouls the St Killians player, and it's a free into St Killians. The rain's starting to come down here. We're going to have another heavy shower. The wind picking up and blowing towards the town goal. Will this be of some aid to St Killians? The free taken right across goal. Ball breaking, bobbing around. Saved on the line by David Cooney as Terry Farley came in to box the ball. A magnificent save by Cooney, well cleared, and Oliver Clerkin clears it further down the field. Only goes as far as Martin Cullen. Martin Cullen is fouled, and it's a free to St Killians. Referee allows play continue. It's now with the wing half back. He's going soloing forward. He's fouled, and it's a free into St Killians. And that was so nearly the goal that would have brought St Killians back to 1 point. This type of game, slippery conditions, anything is liable to happen in around the goal mouth. Brian Clark comes with the resulting free kick. It's right-footed from Brian Clark. It's going to drop short. Charles Clark has it. The ball on the ground. David Cooney, the goalkeeper, has it. He clears it out this side of the field. It's coming out towards the sideline. Ball rolling towards the sideline. Has gone out over the sideline, and it'll be a line ball to St Killians. To be taken by Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley going to drive it in towards goal. He kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high. Brian Clark underneath it. Ball breaks. Goes to St Killian's player. The ball bobbing around on the ground. Who's underneath it? Adrian Larkin with it for Bailieboro. He collects it. Still Adrian Larkin plays it, bobbing around. Who's there for St Killian's with it? This looks like Brian Clark. Brian Clark has it. Lets the ball out. The ball bobbing around. Referee judges that he's going to throw the ball up now. Ball thrown up between Terry Farley and Charles Clark. The ball breaking in behind everybody. It's with Fergus Riley. Fergus Riley for St Killians gets it out as far as Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley turns onto his left foot. It's hit by Thomas. Goes to break back in front of goal. Ball bobbing around. Jerry Sheridan comes out to it for Bailieboro. He lifts the siege and clears it out long down the field as far as Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman solos, uses the ball intelligently. Plays it out this side of the field looking for John Maguire. Maguire gets it up at the second attempt. Still John Maguire. His fist pass cut out. The ball breaking. Looks like Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley is fouled from behind by Charles Clark, and it'll be a free to the St Killians man. Referee Michael Lyons bringing the ball further up. It's now on the 45-metre line. Very silly play from Bailieboro. Thomas Riley coming with the kick. It's right-footed. It's high. It's going in around goal. Underneath the 2 players. The ball breaks. Goes to Kieran Callahan. He loses control of it. Underneath it is a Bailieboro player, or it's a Killians player. Ball on the ground. being fed back out. It's on the ground. It's cleared out for a 45-metre kick by Bailieboro. And Bailieboro are living very, very dangerously down here. The excitement in the stand here in Breffni Park is unreal. Anything is liable to happen. Just 4 points between the sides. Four minutes of normal time remaining here in Breffni Park. Brian McHugh with the kick, floating in towards goal. The ball breaking, goes to Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan has lifted the siege so many times for Bailieboro in there around that goal mat in the last 10 minutes. He kicks it right footed, he kicks it high. His clearance is going to be short. Goes to Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh kicks it left footed out this side of the field. A good ball from McHugh. Finds Thomas Riley. Thomas Riley rounds his marker. Still Thomas Riley kicks it left footed, he kicks it high. And that's a fine score from the boot of Thomas Riley. Just 3 points between the sides. Can St Killians get the goal with 3 minutes remaining? David Cooney coming with the kick out. It's right footed, hanging in the air. It's at Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan, what can he do? He gets it out as far as Jerry Sheridan to Oliver Clerkin with the ball. He clears it up the far side of the field. The ball breaking, bobbing around. It's Jimmy Clark, gets a touch on it. The ball breaks us to St Killian's man. It's bobbing around all over the place. It's now with a Bailieboro player. That's Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman gets it out as far as Oliver Clerkin. Clerkin with the ball. Gets it back out as far as Charles Clark. The ball breaks away from Charles Clark. Goes to the St Killian's player. St Killian's player gets it, not quite sure who they are. Plays it up the field. The ball bobbing around. It's with Philip Clark. Philip Clark is fouled, the Bailieboro fullback. He has played a stalwart game at fullback for Bailieboro today. He kicks it left footed out the far side of the field. A very poor clearance for the free kick by Philip Clark. He was looking for Jimmy out there on the far wing and went out over Jimmy's head, out over the sideline. Line ball to St Killian, so just giving them back the initiative. Played long in by Terry Farley. The ball breaking. Goes to cleared long out the field. The ball breaks. Goes to the corner forward, Brian O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan playing it into the corner. Broken out the field. Goes back out in the direction of Callaghan. Callaghan gets a touch on it. He collects the ball. Referee has blown his whistle and awarded a free into the Bailieboro man. I think Bailieboro are going to survive. They've lifted the siege. They'll be trying to get the ball long in towards the goal. 2 minutes of play remaining. Michael Lyons played 3 minutes of injury time in the first half. We could have quite a bit in the second half. There were a few stoppages. 1 minute of normal time remaining. Rye Brennan's kick gets long in towards the 20-metre line. Underneath is Charles Clark. The ball breaking, bobs out the field, goes to Brian O'Callaghan. He'd be as well kicked as son, left footed and high. He does that. It's going to drop on the short on the 13-metre line, in behind everybody. It's the centre half back clears it out as far as wing half back Killian Smith. Killian Smith with the ball, kicks it right footed down the field. It's gone out over the sideline, line ball to Bailieboro. I think Bailieboro are going to hold out. If they can keep the ball down there for another couple of moments. A strong breeze blowing down the field in favour of St Killian's. Less than 1 minute of play remaining. The free short, a bad idea. It's now with Terry Farley. Terry Farley for St Killian's gets it back out to Killian Smith. Killian Smith lets it long down the field, but nobody there but Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan gets the ball up, plays it out as far as Oliver Clerkin. Oliver Clerkin will kick this one left footed and long. He does that. Charles Clark underneath it. The ball breaks away from him. Going back out to Brian McHugh. Brian McHugh clears it left footed down the field. Looking for Thomas Riley. The ball doesn't go to him. It goes instead to the direction of the corner forward. The ball with Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan with the ball. He plays it short. The ball breaking. Goes as far as Niall Donoghue. Niall Donoghue, his kick cap blocked down. Goes as far as Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan with the ball. Still Rye Brennan coming out. He plays it short to Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan failing to get it up. The ball breaking away from him, gets out the second attempt. Still Jerry Sheridan, he plays it short, goes as far as Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman with the ball, he's fouled and it's a free into the... Free into the Bailieboro man. 2 St Killian's players down injured as we enter into injury time. One of those is the cornerback, Stephen Smith. He's back up, he's on his feet, hobbling it back into the action. He seems to be okay. Rye Brennan to take the result of free kick. He'll be hoping to drive this one all the way, either to the, hoping to put it over the bar. He won't mind if it goes to the right or the left of the post, either way, because Bailieboro are leading by 3 points with a minute of injury time played here in Breffney Park. Brennan's kick going to drop short, goes to St Killians man in there with it, goes right across goal, clears it out. Goal goes as far straight back to Rye Brennan. Rye Brennan in space, he's being held, still Rye Brennan. He kicks it right footed, he kicks it high. Down, drops over the bar, and that's definitely the insurance point on the boot of Rye Brennan. His 8th point of the game, his first from play. But that's a tremendous total from any young wing half forward in an under-21 final. Mark McGovern places the ball at the 20-metre line. Is there time for a last-minute surge from St Killians? They're going to need 2 scores at this stage. Michael Lyons looks at his watch. The ball breaking in the middle of the field. Brian McHugh underneath it over there for St Killians. He turns and kicks it long up the field. The ball breaking. Goes as far as Charles Clark. No, it's Jerry Sheridan. Jerry Sheridan clears it out the field. Looking for Rye Brennan. He's played extremely well for Bailieboro today. He clears it into the opening. Terry Farley's there. Terry Farley gets it out as far as Patrick McGovern. Patrick McGovern with the ball. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. 3 Bailieboro players, 2 St Killians players. The St Killian players gets there first. That's the corner forward, Brian Gilson. Plays it back out the field. Look at Fergus Riley, the midfielder. Jimmy Clark gets a touch on it. Jimmy Clark has done so much of that work today around the midfield sector. As referee Michael Lyons brings the under-21 final to a close here in Breffney Park. Bailieboro are victors for the 3rd time in a row. Bailieboro on a scoreline of 112 to St Killians 2-5. A tremendous game of football under the circumstances and the conditions here in Breffney Park. We had a strong gale, we had heavy showers, we nearly had complete darkness in the first half. Bailieboro, they were playing well, they led by 1 point. St Killians came back into the game, went 2-1 to 1 point up. But Bailieboro, in all fairness, fought back with the aid of the breeze in the first half. They went in leading by half time. They went into a 7-point lead. St Killians reduced that down to 3 points, but then that all-important goal, the break that Bailieboro really needed to put them into the clear with 5 minutes remaining, came when the ball was fumbled around the goals. Paul Coleman was on hand to toe poke it, Ian Rush style, into the back of the net, and Bailieboro are under-21 champions for the 3rd time in a row. Bailieboro 112, St Killians 2-5. From cameraman Tommy Riley and commentator Donal Riley, we bid you farewell from Breffney Park.
Despite the terrible conditions. And my congratulations to both teams and for the sportsmanship that was out there today, and I congratulate the referee Michael Lyons on his handling of the game. I want to congratulate Bailieboro on winning their 3rd under-21 championship in a row. The great achievement for Bailieboro now. And indeed, it's indicative of the future of the Bailieboro club. I commiserate with Killians Club. I know that they have a young team and that they will back again in 1995. So, without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to present the 1984 Under-21 Championship to Jerry Sheridan.
Birthday boy, birthday boy.
I want to thank St Killians and commend them on a fucking great display. Sorry about the bad language. Look, lads, well done. What a fucking camera. This is for Paul Connie and Tommy Lamb, right? They've been training me for a long time, lads. I feel old. But it's for you, lads. And it's a great performance today. We made a lot of mistakes near the end there. But we pulled it through. And I want to thank the crowd, because right there support we wouldn't have it here. That's all I can say, lads. Have we celebrate this tonight on the 21st? And please cheers for St Killians. Thanks very much.
I'd just like to thank all St Killians players for their discipline all year. I know there's only 3 of that whole panel that's over age for next year, so that means that 22, 23 players can pick from again. And boys, don't make the mistakes we made. And fair play to Bailieboro.
This afternoon, and that is the future of this competition, playing it under atrocious conditions like this.
Well, the conditions out there were, as I said, terrible, but I want to congratulate both teams on the excellent game, considering the conditions that was out that day. It was unfortunate that we have to be playing such a fine game at this time of the year, but as you can look back to last spring, we had intended starting the Under-21 Championship at that time. Actually, we did play a couple of games at it. The fields that time were unplayable, so that we decided then to call it off and to proceed with the senior league. And so that explains the reason why it ended up at this time of year.
With that, Brendan, I have to say that was of course Brendan Keeney. Brendan, we have to be as nice as possible coming up to Christmas. We often get the blame for perhaps going a little bit too deep into things, but another 21 final just the days before Christmas under terrible conditions. What does this say for the future of the competition?
Well, I'd say the future of the competition will be bright. I know that it's unfortunate this year that we end up playing it just the week before Christmas. Back in the beginning of the year, I remember fields were unplayable at that time, and we had to call off the Under-21 Championship, and we proceeded then with the league, and because it was involving more clubs at the time, and decided to postpone the Under-21 Championship to the end of the year. So it dragged on a bit long, as you can see, but it's unfortunate, but if we were reviewing the situation in 1995, I would think it was pretty early.
It certainly didn't take from the game. It was
a tremendous game, as I said, for the rest of the cup. Congratulating both teams and giving us a sportsman game and an excellent game. I think it was a credit to the association and a credit to the club.
If I could just dwell on the under-21 competition in a different way for a moment, it also gave concern in other ways, a couple of the games coming up in the build-up to this particular final, which must give concern to somebody like you. I'm sure you'd be anxious to eradicate these kind of problems coming up in the future.
Well, yes, but I just want to say at the outset, I haven't at any time vetted those in. I did at the convention with the top place to do it. I vetted all these that took place during the year. Those under-21 games that you refer to are under investigation, so at the moment I wouldn't refer to individuals. But certainly we would be very concerned with those type of incidents on the field and the under-21 or see.
Right, okay, enough of that. Now, the Christmas break is surely well underway after this afternoon here in Breffni Park with the under-21 final. The last of the competitions. Cavan with full marks going into the National Football League in 1995. A lot to look forward to, a lot of young promising players even out there this afternoon.
Yes, we had a good run in the beginning of the league and the latter part of the year there. We'll be hoping to start off 1995 on the same note as we ended 1994. As you said yourself, there's a lot of young players showing promise on the county team, and indeed a lot of maybe the older players have playing much better now than they have over the last number of years. And putting all in all together, we'll be looking to a bright future in 1995. Now we can't be building up our hopes too much, you know, things just don't happen overnight. But I believe that we're setting the thing on the right road, and I believe that we're on the right road. It may take more than 1 year, but I believe we're on the right road and we'll succeed.
Martin and the boys doing a good job up to now?
Yes, well, I think the whole view, everybody brings their own stamp on it. Mark McHugh has a very professional attitude towards the county team. He's gone through it all himself. He's a very, very young team manager. He's just 32 years of age. He's very young to be taking over the county team. A lot of the players maybe out there, some of them anyway are as old as himself. But nevertheless, he has been through it all. He's been through in All Ireland, won in All Ireland. He's one of the top players, recognised one of the top players in the country. And he knows his job, and I believe that we'll have success. Not overnight, but it'll come.
Finally, Brendan Keane, just a quick word before you go. I know that you're in a bit of a rush. I understand you're off to London very, very shortly.
Tomorrow, yes.
That's tomorrow, in fact. Yeah. Do you have something, a word to say, perhaps, to the followers of Gaelic football and indeed the players, just these days coming up to Christmas?
Yes. So just first of all, I'd like to thank the players, all grades who played for Cavan over the past 12 months, and also to all our officials and indeed to the supporters of Cavan football, and to wish them a happy Christmas and indeed a bright and a prosperous new year.
Brendan Keane there, the chairman of the Bailieboro. Thanks for joining us on the programme. Well, Jerry Sheridan, of course, is captain of this under-21 successful side. This is 3 in a row for Bailieboro. What a great year, though, on top of all of this for yourself. On a personal note, Jerry.
I just want to say that it was something we needed for the club this year, because you know, after all our defeats all year, we needed this bit of success to keep the club going, you know. And that's really all.
But you did make hard work of it for a long time, so the Killians were very much on top.
We did there near the end there. A lot of mistakes. You know, we broke away from them, but we let them always come back at us. We could have killed them off there when we went ahead, you know, but we didn't. They were always in it, you know.
It took 31 minutes of the first half before you gained the lead for the first time. Well, that of course was with the exception of that first point that Roy got.
Yeah, we got off to a very bad start. 2 slack goals. 2 men got in behind us and they scored. And what could we do, you know? Heads were again the win the whole time then, you know.
I was talking just a few moments ago to the chairman of the county board, and we just mentioned in passing about the under-21 championship and the competition in general and the time of year that it's been finished up. Do you agree with this? Obviously you couldn't, because I mean conditions out there were pretty rough to say the least.
You know, you don't get to see the best football out of the players because of underfoot conditions. Basically, you have to get rid of the ball when you have it, because if you don't, you're going to drop it. You know, you don't see the best from footballers today, and it would be better if we seen it played during the summer months.
There was a shower in the first half after 15 minutes when it almost got dark. What was going through your head then?
Let me inside. But all I could say then was we had to keep plugging. We had to settle things. Our heads were again the win. We had to concentrate on what we were doing, because we started out and our plan as we started did not work out, so we had to change it around. and we had to keep the thing wide and just keep plugging away. What can I say?
Bailieboro reminds me of the Offaly's back some years ago. You keep plugging, never say die attitude, because really in the first 15 minutes it looked as though it was going to be a walkover, but how you turn the whole thing around.
Yeah, a few good performances from our forwards here. Kept us in. Brandon there in particular put the ball on the ground, put it over the bar, and we need them to, you know.
A great year for you, as I said a little bit earlier on, selected, appointed and named Player of the Year in Cavan. How do you feel about all of that now coming up to Christmas?
He's 21st and 8th.
Something I haven't really thought a lot about, because when you tend to think about these things, it might go to your head, but I just have taken it all in my stride and kept playing away, you know.
Did I hear somebody in the background saying that you'll be having celebrations of a different nature tonight?
Yeah, I'm 21 today. Yeah, so that'll compound the celebration.
Okay, well you certainly richly deserve it, Jerry. Thanks for taking the time to talk, because I know you're anxious to get away for other reasons. Jerry Sheridan, thanks for talking.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, Peter Connolly, he's at the helm, of course, of Bailieboro football. One of the many people, indeed, for the last number of years. But with this under-21 team, a good victory for you, 3 in a row, Peter.
It was great. When you coming down and with it all to do, because someone told us about St Killians, like that they were tough, that they far bigger pick than we had, with the 15 on the field, plus with maybe 20 subs, but we were limited to our players, like. And fair play to the boys out on the field today, they give everything. As Jerry said, Roy Brennan and Rasher up front, when things was going nearly against us, they kept playing. Our backs got to grips with the forwards and the centre field took control, and we went well till half time. We went well again, and then we got 6 points up. We relaxed and let them back into it. But a good score again from Roy Brennan, very near the finish, left us safe, like. So very pleased for the boys. Some of them is 3 under-21s, just a credit to them.
And the near neighbours thing, it didn't really come into it or cause any frustration at all?
No, fair play to them. They were in and they congratulated us. They said if they couldn't win it themselves, they were delighted to see the like of Bailieboro winning it. A lot of them goes to school together and slag together, and did with some of them visiting the town last Sunday night telling us what they were going to do with it. So we didn't pass much remarks to that. So fair play, and they're a good bunch of lads too, St Killians.
But you must have been thinking something of that nature in the first 10 or 12 minutes, though.
Well, I thought they were right. I was nearly sure they were right. I says, what's happening here, boys, to myself. But then, as I said, we got to grips with the team. Everyone settled down and knuckled down. And as people says, we were talking at training Friday night, that there's more heart really in a club team than an amalgamation, you know, because you have so many people to pick from and so many people trying to get their own men on it here and there. Like, maybe that's not the case with St Killians, but at a club, as you know yourself, the heart's there and the will to win's there. That under-21 team today, they were beaten an under-12 replay, they were beaten in an under-14 replay, under-16 replay, a minor replay. And as some of the boys said, there's no under 22 or 23, we have to win it today or we won nothing at that age group. So fair play to them, they knuckled down and done the business.
And how they did, and did it in style in the end. Even for a poor old manager like yourself out there, it was rough up and down along the sideline with that terrible weather.
Oh, the first half was serious, that was some shower. Like, it's ridiculous playing under 21 championship the week before Christmas. Instead of, we should be away shopping instead of here. I know I'm glad we're home because we're bringing back the silverware. But we played our first round, our preliminary round on St Patrick's Day, and we didn't play again until October. And I don't think, if they want to bring on, that's no way of bringing on young lads at 17, 18 to 21 out playing like the conditions that was there in the first half. Ridiculous, I think.
It makes men of them, though.
Oh, it toughens them up, but sure. We knew that coming down to our hard, you know.
All right, then, Peter, we'll let you go. Thanks
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
up to the cosy part of Breffney Park and having a chat with us.